Good afternoon. My name is Tatara Sutton, and before we get started, I just want to ask if anybody has seen the movie Black Panther. Great, but that's not what I'm talking about today. Today I'm going to be talking about the Black Panther Party, founded in 1966 and ceased operations in 1982. I decided to do this topic because I had a project on Huey P. Newton in middle school and thought it was interesting. A fun fact is that the Black Panther and the Black Panther Party both took inspiration from the same Black Panther logo used by a black political party in Alabama in the 1960s. The Black Panther Party was a revolutionary group created for the protection of the black community from abuse and oppression by the police. They then evolved to become a significant part of the civil rights movement by working with the community for the community and advocating for the empowerment of all those oppressed. The Black Panther Party for Self-Defense was founded on October 15, 1966 by Huey Percy Newton, and Robert George Seal in Oakland, California. Upset with the large history of violence against black Americans and the recent shooting and death of a 16-year-old named Matthew Johnson, the two gathered poor and young African Americans in the community to form the party. The organization started with Bobby and Newton, plus a few recruits, patrolling the neighborhood with shotguns to make sure abusive cops weren't instigating violence. The original 6 members were Bobby Seale, Huey P. Newton, Edward Big Man Howard, Sherman and Reggie Forte, and Little Bobby Hutton. The party's beliefs matched Malcolm X, where they didn't think that liberation could come from a nonviolent approach. They believed in black nationalism, socialism, and armed self-defense, which the police didn't take too kindly to. They gained national recognition when about 30 to 40 Panthers stormed the California State Capitol building to protest a bill about gun control on May 2nd, 1967, which they believed was targeted at them as they carried rifles and shotguns for self-protection, which was allowed under California's open carry law. While the bill was still passed, this event brought eyes and support upon the Black Panthers. They were started as a group, as Huey would say, to police the police. They wanted to confront politicians. Well, according to the National Museum of African American History and Culture, they confronted politicians, challenged the police, and protected black citizens from brutality. They branched into social reforms and created service programs, which they would call survival programs. They had free breakfast for children, free food for families and elderly. They had sickle cell testing clinics. They had medical health clinics called the People's Free Health Clinic. They had community schools, legal aid offices, clothing and transportation distributions. They had it all. By providing to the low-income communities, they gained support from those communities. They also had the Black Panther newspaper, which they used to organize, educate, and inform the people of the community. They also used it to promote their 10-point program, which was guidelines outlining the goals of the party. The first issue was printed on April 25th, 1967, and talked about Denzel Dow, a black man who was murdered by the police in North Richmond, California. Sadly, their peak couldn't last forever, and the downfall of the party is due to internal and external factors. As the party grew, people splintered into different beliefs and ideals. Some left for the Black Liberation Army, which was very popular at the time, as well as the Black Panther Party, and some chapters in certain cities allowed crime and sexism to run rampant in the membership. There wasn't as much organization, there wasn't as much structure, and things got weakened there. Additionally, the FBI wasn't taking too kindly to the radicalness of the party in and of itself. The FBI's then director, J. Edgar Hoover, called the party the greatest threat to the nation's security, and using the counterintelligence program, they infiltrated the party using informants, would keep tabs on the leaders, and cause rifts between members by using fake letters that had disinformation. They would orchestrate violent interactions between the police and the party, and it wasn't meshing well. One of the most notable, especially with the growing popularity, because while as the parties grew, it became easier for spies to get into the parties because there wouldn't be as much checking. One of the most notable informants would be William O'Neill, who did drug Fred Hampton, a notable leader of the Black Panther Party, so he would not wake up during a police raid on December 4th, 1969. It is said that the Chicago police released 90 to 99 gunshots into the home that held Fred Hampton, his then 8-month pregnant girlfriend, and 8 other members of the Black Panther Party, while the party only released one gunshot, which was from Mark Clark's shotgun that he dropped after he was shot and killed. The only 2 casualties in this shooting was Fred Hampton and Mark Clark. By 1971 to 1972, the party had dwindled down. After getting out of prison, Bobby Seale ran for mayor of Oakland, and all the party's funds went into his campaign. And after he lost in 1973, the constant struggle with the police, with the government, the internal debates among members of the party, plus the added negative propaganda put on the party, making them seem violent and dangerous, support was being lost for the community. And with most of the main leaders either dead, imprisoned, or fleeing to another country from authorities, there was no organization for the community, for the group, and they ceased operations in 1982. The party did not create or change any laws and may not have created long-lasting change that they originally intended for, but they created a long-lasting impact and influence around the world. Social movements in Australia, the Bahamas, India, and Vietnam took inspiration from their work and message. There are Oakland schools following the model of the Panthers community schools, and their movements and protests are echoed into modern movements today, such as the Black Lives Matter protest in 2020, and they also opened the door to a more radical approach to liberation and brought attention to the community that they wanted. In conclusion, the Black Panther Party was created to protect the Black people in the community against unfair brutality and oppression. It grew into something much more than Huey or Bobby probably ever imagined and sparked a movement for justice and resilience. The Black Panther Party isn't mentioned as much as Martin Luther King or Rosa Parks in U.S. history, and many of the issues they fought against are still unresolved today. But through their efforts, it is clear to see how far we've come and how far we must still go in the future for the equity and equality of us all. Thank you.